Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Al Abrams and Judy Francis.
A big show for you today. This hour, I understand Gina Davis is going to be on. And while Judy, who books the show and is the producer, keeps correcting me.
I'm done correcting you, Hal. Yeah, it's Gina Davis.
She's a hottie. I'll tell you that right now. And we're very excited about that. Also, Dr. Marty Becker, kind of an emergency. He wanted to get on the show today to talk about the circus.
No, Hal. Boy, you're just all confused.
We got to get him straightened out.
I know. I don't know what it is today. He's talking about the Circovirus, Hal.
The Circovirus. Hey,
yes.
Dr. Becker.
Hello, friends.
How are you doing? What is this? You're not talking about the circus today.
Well, here's the thing. This has been on the media a lot, and especially in certain parts of the country. It's some kind of a virus that started in Ohio, and it's now spread to some of the neighboring states. And we know how things can spread quickly now. We're so mobile. It just takes a car trip across the country or a pet that had the Circovirus traveling in an airplane to come to another area. But we're not sure. I just want our listeners, to know this among the very first people. But I graduated in 1980, right when parvovirus hit. And I remember at parvovirus, first it started out very small, and then it just blew up, and you saw it from coast to coast. And this is back before the internet, before Google, before Bing. You know, you had to go to your local veterinarian, and people were beating down the doors because it was such a deadly virus. Whatever these dogs are that are getting in Ohio, they have symptoms that are similar. It's vomiting, bloody diarrhea, extreme lethargy or depression, also some internal bleeding and vasculitis. So this just means they've got really, really inflamed blood vessels.
Do you know how many animals have been affected so far?
There's about 10 that have died so far, but they don't. The crazy thing about this, Circovirus is in pigs, it is in birds, but we've never seen it in dogs before. So it's a newly identified virus in dogs, and we don't know if it can do it itself or if it has to require a co-infection of another virus to make them as sick as they are. But the one thing I think, there is no vaccine for it. Here's what I would just tell people: if you ever have a dog that has vomiting or diarrhea, that's not uncommon to have vomiting or diarrhea unless there's blood in it. If you ever see bright red blood or you see a very black stool, which means it's digested blood, that's an emergency.
Okay.
Or if you have a pet that has repeated vomiting and diarrhea, we all have dogs that get sick or cats that throw up a hairball. That's normal, but they're throwing up and then they're throwing up again, or you see them straining and there's not even defecating because there's nothing in there. Or if they seem very lethargic or depressed, that is an emergency. You want to take them in right away, because if you do supportive care and you catch them early on, they're going to make it, whether it's Circovirus with a co-infection of another virus or something else. And the other thing I want to remind people, there's certain places I never take our dogs. Our dogs are fully vaccinated. They have lifetime parasite control. But I don't stop at those highway rest stops, at the rest areas where there's a little grassy area. That's like a hot zone. I mean, everything it's passing through, whether it's, funguses, yeast, MRSA, there could be all sorts of things that just went through there. I never, ever stop at those places.
Now, I don't want to start a pandemic, but this is only in Ohio right now, the Circovirus, or has it moved beyond? And how serious should we take this?
It has moved beyond. They are seeing it in Illinois and I believe in one other state out there nearby. So I don't want people, we don't even know if this is what is causing these pets to die, but it is like, I think everybody knows about parvovirus and how deadly it can be. Sure. It has some similarities to it. Whatever is causing these dogs' death, bloody diarrhea, bloody vomiting, extreme lethargy or depression. This virus has been identified, but they don't know if this is the cause or if it requires a co-infection. But I wanted people to know about it so that if if you have any kind of a pet that were to have that bloody vomiting or diarrhea, that you take it in. You also know that there is no vaccine for it. But just avoid those high-risk places. That would be my word of caution until this thing gets figured out.
Okay.
And Dr. Becker, didn't I hear that, if I'm correct, I think it was only isolated. The Circovirus was only isolated out of one animal, but it is suspected in other animals. Is that correct?
Well, the research I saw, they found it in several animals. They found it, I think, in 7 animals now. And there was a dog last week. Actually, it was earlier. Yeah, I think it was last week that died. A service animal died. That was one that they suspected it might have been the primary. It might have been the primary cause. So we just don't know. We just don't know. This is a new virus for dogs. We don't know, again, what part it plays in this. But, there's when you're starting to having dogs, and 4 dogs died from one boarding facility. So it is contagious. It is spread with, feces and saliva. But it just makes common sense for everybody. Sometimes people wait not a week too late. They wait a day too late to come in. If you see persistent vomiting or diarrhea, or if you ever see blood, you need to treat it like an emergency and go in.
We'll keep you up to date here at Animal Radio. And, of course, there's a lot of information that you have sent me. I'm going to post this over at the Animal Radio website at animalradio.com about Circovirus, spelled C-I-R-C-O virus, Circovirus. That is, of course, veterinary correspondent for Animal Radio, Dr. Marty Becker, bringing us the latest news as it happens. Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you, friend.
That is messed up. Nothing good comes out of Ohio. I'm telling you that right now.
What about the Ohio players? They had some good songs.
They weren't from Ohio.
They weren't?
It really is.
You know what? I have this really cool bearded dragon that's in the hospital, and you know what a bearded dragon looks like?
Yeah.
Sure.
Bearded dragon.
Okay, they're cute little, they're very nice little lizard for pets. You guys don't know?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. They got little spiny things all over them.
They're
They're
cute.
maybe
Beauty.
about
Oh,
8,
beauty.
12 inches long. So they're really nice. So this one wasn't eating. So he came in, and I had to kind of force feed him, get him some x-rays. We got some fluids going, some deworming, and he's doing better. But what's really interesting is he's got these like little front legs that are deformed. I'm presumably came from the pet store with a deformity, and this good soul took this little guy in with special needs, and we're trying to nurse him back to health.
Yeah,
Special needs.
How old is
special
he?
needs lizard.
Special needs. He's 7 months old, and he's actually getting around well. So we're hoping we don't have to amputate any of the front legs because
Won't they grow
he's
back?
kind of using them. No. It's not like a tail. If I cut your leg off, is it going to grow back?
Well, but lizards, I thought everything grows back.
Just
No,
the
that's
tail.
their tail. That's their tail.
I didn't know that. I thought they grew back
We're going to
everything.
take Alan's head and just chop it off, and then see
if it grows back.
The body will grow out of it.
I was really amazed that they would need worming medication. Lizards need to be wormed? That's weird.
Absolutely.
Don't they eat worms?
Well, they eat insects, but as far as parasites, internal parasites, a lot of tortoises, reptiles, lizards, snakes, they can get the same styles of worms that a lot of dogs and cats can. They get their own type. So if you have a reptile that's not eating, you should see a veterinarian because diagnosing that and treating with deworming can sometimes make a big difference for a pet that's not eating. So
Good to know. I learned so much on this show.
Yes, we do.
Like the reptiles love you. I mean, like let's put it this way: if you made your reptile as big as you, would it eat you or would it be nice to you? I mean, that's my question. I don't want to have a pet that if a growth ray, the guy on Phineas and Ferb, Dr. Schmalzenpfeffer, if he points the growth ray at the lizard, is the lizard going to be like, oh, that's my guy, I love that guy, or is he going to just chomp me up?
No,
that's what
you know what? There's a lot of animals, and it's a different kind of attention that they give you. But there are many reptiles. I've had folks with tortoises, bearded dragons, you name it, and they actually they interact with the humans in the household. They're just not a caged pet. But it takes time. You got to get them used to handling and really kind of work on that bond. But
she didn't answer
it's
my
different.
question.
They're not going to go following you on a walk around and fetch a ball, but they're still pets in some kind of quality.
I just wanna
Okay,
know if he'd eat me.
Alan,
I just
they
wanna
would
know if he'd eat me.
They would eat
Yeah,
you,
see?
Alan.
See,
Okay.
that's why I don't like them, because they would eat me if they could. That's why
I could see you with your little legs sticking out of its mouth. Yeah.
See,
They would
my
eat
dog, if he was like 3 times bigger, he wouldn't eat me. He'd still be my dog. I mean, he wouldn't eat me. But the lizard, he'd probably eat me.
you.
Oh, my
sound-
dog would so eat me.
You sound so
oh my God.
sure, Alan.
I'm positive. That dog worships me.
My Labrador would eat just about anything, and we always joke about this. If something happened and we died in a cabin and the dogs were in the cabin with us, he would eat us and no problem.
They'd eat your face off first. Right?
Yes,
yeah, that's what they
absolutely.
do.
See, I thought you were going to say Boss would.
Oh no, Boss, I don't think he would. He's not.
That's sad. That's sad that your dog would eat you.
It isn't sad. You know what it is? I'm honest. It's a circle of life. If I was dead and my dogs were there, it had nothing else to
Survival.
eat.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, then my dog would eat me too. But, I mean, he'd wait for me to die. I don't think he'd eat me alive.
Well, that's
You
what
never
Debbie
know.
said.
You'd
Why
never
don't you
know.
put some peanut butter on your face and let's just see?
He doesn't like peanut butter. Isn't that weird? It's funny because, he's got his moods. It's he'll eat that dog food and scarf it down if I play with him. But I'll create a rawhide bone and put some really good chopped meat in there and stuff, and he'll just let it sit there for hours and then he'll chomp it up. He's not one of these dogs that ravages everything. It's very interesting how he eats. He always leaves a little dog food over for me.
Aww.
Yeah,
he's a giver.
Does. And he does, and he'll pick up a piece of kibble and bring it to me and drop it at my feet.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's so nice, buddy.
That's a sign of pack, isn't it? I mean, he's deferring to you.
So what do you do?
Yeah,
he does. Do you have to pick it up and eat it?
No, I just pick it up and I go, good boy, and then I give it to him.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too. In Germany, police say a woman attempting to make manure stink bombs with stockings slipped into a manure tank and fled the scene naked. 2 women entered a farm in the northern village of Eberholzen and started filling up stockings with manure. A police spokesman reported one of them slipped into the manure tank right into the cow muck. The other one helped her out. We found their clothes in a field. One seems to have run off completely naked, the other in her underwear. Police said it was unclear what the women had intended to do with the manure bombs, adding the women can get their clothes back from the local police station, unwashed. Now that stinks. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Is this Gina Davis?
I'm Gina Whitaker.
Oh, hi, Gina. How are you doing? This is a different
Hi.
Gina. It's a Gina show
I'm
today.
Good.
What's going on with you?
Well, I am not a regular listener to your show because I do not have pets. However, I did hear the show last week, and my son and his girlfriend are about to drive across the country in a moving truck with a cat. And I thought maybe the veterinarian could give me some advice to give them. His girlfriend is concerned that there won't be enough space in the cat carrier at her feet in the cab of this truck, and just don't know how to approach that. So I thought maybe I could get some advice.
Well, since you're new, I'll introduce you to Dr. Debbie right over here.
Thank you for your call, because this is a really good question. And a lot of people do think that it's kinder to let a cat run loose in a car. And I will tell you that is completely false, and it's also dangerous. So for safety and a decreased anxiety for cats during travel, it is best to keep them kennel confined. So we want the kennel to be large enough for Kitty to move around. And depending on what your travel time is going to be, and there's a couple scenarios what I usually recommend to folks.
2,000 miles, so it's probably going to be about 5 days or 4 days.
And are they driving straight through, or are they stopping for nights?
Well, they have to stop for nights. I mean, they can't drive 24 hours a day, but I imagine there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 stops.
Okay, perfect. Because that's what kind of differs on how we advise how a cat might travel and what kind of environment we want for them. Mm-hmm. So as long as we're stopping at night, the honest truth is that cats in a vehicle traveling for 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours a day are really not going to do a whole lot. So you don't have to have a wide, large area for them to play, to do things. I like to have a large enough kennel to have a small litter pan and a water, and if you want, if they're not prone to motion sickness, that we can give a food bowl. Now, the litter box, the size of the litter box you can get away with using can be one of the small size litter boxes, or even I've had just those throwaway, the shirt boxes, the cardboard boxes. You can use that with a kitty pan liner and use that as a temporary litter box just for travel purposes. So it's something you can do in a pinch. But really, we just want the kennel to be large enough for cat to move around a little bit and to have the litter box and to have the water. Okay. And so the goal is that Kitty's going to do most of our stuff at night when we're stopping. And it's just, unless you've got a really well-adjusted cat, they're just not going to do a whole lot. They're going to want to lay down, they're going to hide, they're going to sleep, and just really not do a whole lot. So a hide area, so if you have like a little cozy that they can hide in, or even just a cardboard box that you can kind of put in there, gives them a little visual security.
This is during the stop or during the traveling?
During travel. During travel. Yeah. And if you don't have a solid travel kennel, kind of like, the plastic sides, then you can even use something like a towel or even a sheet to go over it, just to give the kitty a little bit more visual security, because seeing that high flowing traffic going by can freak cats out. And so they really like to be kind of in the comfort zone so that they don't have to watch the semi-trailers going by and all the other things.
So it would probably not be a great idea to put them in the back with all the boxes and furniture, huh?
No, definitely not. And definitely not in the back of a pickup truck or a truck with a cab.
It's a moving truck, or like a U-Haul, a big one.
No, you want to be able to supervise and make sure everything's okay, that we're not getting jostled. And I do actually recommend, if it's a smaller cat carrier that you're using, you can actually even use the seatbelt to help kind of affix it into place and just to make sure it's tethered. Otherwise, bungee cords work really good, just to make sure it doesn't shift as you're turning, driving, anything like that. So security is really the most important thing for a cat to travel comfortably. Now, and if you got some time and before they're actually traveling, the best thing I can advise to help a cat travel is actually to acclimate them to the cat carrier and to the travel experience. So unfortunately, most cats, the only time they get in a carrier is when they go to see a vet like me. It's a horrible association. So I encourage people, even if you're not planning travels, get your cat used to a carrier and get them used to going into a car, and you don't always have to go anywhere. You can just drive around the block and come home, and it builds a positive association. So that is something, if they can do at this point, I would start doing that and getting her used to the carrier in the home setting with feeding her in it, and then even just kind of building up to little trips around the block to help Kitty feel comfortable. And then there are some other things that I will try, if necessary, to help calm a fearful cat during travel, and they might include things like kitty pheromones, which are the natural scent hormones that calm pets. I'll often also use dilute lavender oil, and we can put that on the kitty's bedding or in the environment, and it's kind of a natural way to help a pet calm, and works for people too. Helps you as a sleep aid and all that kind of stuff.
Where do you get the pheromones? Do you buy them somewhere in a pet store? Or?
Yeah, you can check that out at a local pet store or a veterinary office, and you'll be able to find a variety of different products in that realm.
Okay, great. Well, that's all very helpful, and I will relay these things to the kids, and thanks for those suggestions. I so appreciate it.
Ms. Whitaker, before you go?
Yes.
I have two things. Number one, tell your daughter and her future son-in-law to get off the interstate, because the nicest, newest hotels are off the interstate. Disgusting people like me stay at the hotels on the interstate. And number two, what do we have to do to earn your business? I mean, right now, what do we need to do?
Right. Well, they're going to be driving 2,007 miles in a truck, and it's nerve-wracking to me, if not to them. But I'll give them that advice.
Well, thanks for your call, Gina. We appreciate it, and hopefully you'll be listening again. I think that's what you mean by the kind of business you want to earn there, Alan, isn't it?
Yes, I would like to earn her business at this moment. What do we need to do to make her a regular?
I think playing some of the pet-related songs, like Shannon. I think Shannon is good.
Playing it, but not singing it, Hal. That's the difference.
Yeah. Shannon is good.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
Alan Cable, time for another dog tip, but first, I have to call the vet and make an appointment for my shots. Of course, I pretend it's for a dog.
Animal hospital?
There's an annual shot that I'm supposed to get, right?
There is.
Can I make an appointment?
Yeah.
Look how good I am at irritating others.
I have a 9:45.
Perfect, and I'll put my muzzle on myself.
Thank you.
We had a call about dogs marking in the house. The woman who called's dog wasn't neutered. Unless you plan on breeding your dog, neutering is a good idea because it can prevent the habit from starting. Marking is a way for dogs to communicate lots of stuff like territoriality. They'll mark stuff on the outside of the house like fences and trees to scare off other dogs. It lets other dogs know that your dog's ready and willing to protect his space. Dogs will mark the inside of the house for lots of reasons, including claiming ownership of whatever they're doing it on. Some dogs mark your bed, some don't. Some mark it first, some mark it last. Depends on your dog's personality and how insecure he is. Insecure dogs may go on anything new. Visitors, shopping bags you bring in the house, new furniture. Because these dogs lack confidence, it makes them feel more secure putting their own scent on new things. Sometimes female dogs mark when they're in heat. It's important for you to remember when your dog marks that he's not trying to be mean or spiteful. They're not jealous or trying to get back at you for something. Now, there might be a medical problem, so a good idea is to always take your dog to the vet first. Then you know if there's nothing physical wrong, it's a behavioral problem. So what do you do about it? Well, you've got to put yourself in a leadership role in a positive, non-threatening way, building your dog's confidence by setting him up for success. The first thing is to take him on walks every day consistently, on a leash. Never let him be in front. He's always at your side. You exit the house first. You enter the house first. Get a crate and have your dog sleep in it. Letting a dog sleep with you in bed can give him the perception that he's in charge of all the people in the house. So keep him off your bed. And it's not a bad idea to keep him off furniture either. Make sure if you let him roam around, you're there to give him constant supervision so you can make a quick correction if he tries to mark. And don't forget to clean all the spots with something that'll erase the scent, or he'll be tempted to go back there. Don't forget to praise good behavior too. Get more tips at animalradio.com.
This is an Animal Radio News Update. I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. When I saw this picture of this little elephant with tears in its eyes, it was a newborn calf. I mean, seriously, big tears streaming down the side of his face. Well, this little newborn calf had reportedly been crying for 5 hours, inconsolably. It just broke my heart to see the picture of him. It just looked so sad. He was separated for his mom, not once, but twice, because his mom tried to kill him. Keepers at the wildlife park in eastern China removed the calf from his mother after she rejected him. She stomped on him. Hopeful that the injury had been accidental, they treated the calf and then returned him to his mother's side. Well, she turned on him again, so they removed him. The calf was under a blanket for 5 straight hours, crying before the keepers were able to console him. He couldn't bear to be parted from his mom, and it was his mom who was trying to kill him. A keeper said that all was not lost for the little calf because he had been adopted by one of the other animal keepers who rescued him, and they formed a strong bond. How do they do that? You know, how do they teach him, like, how to grab a peanut or something if it's a human with his, his big trunk? I guess they just learn it naturally. A blind man was walking his dog along a Denver street when the epic floodwaters surged and knocked him over. Ronnie Webb was washed into a deep culvert. His guide dog frantically paced the edge. A Denver police officer on patrol saw the dog, and he came closer to him. He spotted Webb in the water. As Webb called for help, his dog jumped in after him. Suddenly, they were both sucked into the tunnel under the street. He and his dog were in that tunnel for 17 minutes, said Officer Dale Creason. Creason called the paramedics to the other end of the tunnel, where Webb and his dog emerged unharmed, thankfully. And Creason hails Webb's dog as a hero. He said both he and his dog are doing well now. A small group of runaway cows left a team of Swedish hunters cowering in fear that they mistook the bovine shadows for bears. According to the Local, it's a newspaper, the hunters radioed for help shortly after they were dropped off by a helicopter in the woods in northern Sweden. And they told the pilot that their tiny shelter was surrounded by some kind of brown bear that's known to live in the area, and they needed to be flown out. Well, the pilot said he's not going to be able to get there until the morning. So the hunters spent the night awaiting the bear attack that they were sure was going to come any minute. However, when they finally poked their heads out of the shelter in the morning, they found out that the bears were not bears, but lost cows who wandered away from a nearby farm. That giant panda that was born last month at the Smithsonian National Zoo has a clean bill of health. She had her first full vet exam, and it weighed in at a little over 2 pounds, more than double what she weighed at birth. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
So in just a couple of minutes, Laura Moss will be joining us. The topic, 10 pets that inspired great songs. Like this. You remember this?
That's about a dog?
She's drifting
you didn't know that was
sea.
about a dog?
I don't know that. You know, you are you know a lot about music, about the old classic hits.
From the 70s. I know nothing today.
Yeah.
You tell me a group today, I wouldn't know who it was.
Yeah, I know the 70s.
We go to Allison. Hey, Allison, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's up in your world?
My dog, he gets aggressive when you go to put him in the cage. And I was wondering what I could do.
Hey, Allison, it's good to talk to you. Does he ever get aggressive at any other point in time?
No.
Okay. Tell me the circumstances. Tell me what you're doing right before you try to put him in his crate.
Well, it's when we have to go away. Because he's only 15 months old.
Do you always put her in the crate only when you go away?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. All right, so you going away is kind of a trigger, and also your energy when you try to put her in the crate has become a trigger. So when you decide to put her in the crate, you get all tense, and you get anxiety, and you picture in your mind the worst happening, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to change the experience for yourself before you can change it for your pet. The crate has to become something that's pleasurable and fun. And in order to change the behavior of your dog, you have to understand it takes time. It's not something you can change overnight. It's something that might take you a couple of weeks, and it's something that you have to do when you're perfectly calm and when you're home. And the best suggestion I have for you is to actually start to make the crate fun for your dog. And the way to do that is to keep the door open, start putting your dog's favorite toy in the crate. Every time your dog walks into the crate to get the toy, be watching, try to notice it and say, good dog. Also start feeding your dog in the crate. Start putting her food in there, but leave the door open, okay? So every day when you feed your dog, put the dog food in there and just walk away. And then slowly over time, start closing the door while she's in there calm. The trick is to catch her when she's calm before she gets to that excited, anxious state, and to do it very calmly yourself. Because when a human faces a dog with anxiety, it tells the dog, hey, there's something that's not right here. I should be afraid. I should be anxious too. Because you're your dog's leader and teacher. So whenever you're calm, your dog's going to feel calm. And whenever you're anxious, your dog's going to feel anxious. Another tip is to really tire your dog out at least once a day. I mean, exhaust your dog with playing. And that's when you put the treat or the toy inside the crate after playing. And when she goes in there to get it, you go, good girl, good dog. And you just keep doing that. And it's going to be difficult because whenever you decide to leave, you're going to trigger that anxiety in yourself and your dog. So practice putting your dog in the crate about 30 minutes before you leave so that you're not anxious. Do it 30 minutes to an hour before you actually have to leave. And then when she goes in there, tell her she's a good dog and close the door. Don't say goodbye to her when you leave. Don't talk to her. Just leave. And when you come home, don't say anything. Leave her in the crate for 15 minutes before you let her out. Then nonchalantly walk over and let her out of the crate. The key, girlfriend, is to take deep breaths, make yourself calm from the inside out, make the crate a fun place to be for your dog, and you will see she will stop being aggressive. She will actually look forward to going inside the crate. Now, the reason why she is aggressive when you try to put her in there is because it works. When she gets aggressive, you back off, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so when she wins, it's a bad thing because when she wins against you, she learns that by being aggressive, you're going to fold and walk away. So you've got to learn how to calmly put her in the crate even when she gets a little aggressive. Let her know you're not going to back down. You don't have to hurt her. You don't have to push her. You don't have to, do anything rash. You just have to be firm and calm. You have to be firm and calm, and you have to not back down. But again, if you exhaust her, if you make the crate a pleasurable place, a fun place to be, it's going to start. And if you put her in there way before you have to leave, it's going to become way easier for you.
Okay.
Does that stuff make sense?
Yeah.
Well, work on it and recognize that it's not going to happen overnight. It may take a couple of weeks. It might even take a month, or it might happen quickly. It all depends on you and how calm and relaxed you are when you work with your dog. Remember, try not to talk to your dog, especially when you're putting her in the crate. The only thing you want to say is when she's in there, good dog. Because the more talking you do, the more excited and anxious she's going to get.
Oh, okay.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call, Allison.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is
Animal Radio.
Hey, Deb, any famous people like out in Vegas ever come to you?
Let's see. There's a kickboxer, a fighter that comes to my clinic. He's an older one, though. I can't think of his name. He's got a Great Dane.
People always ask what kind of animals you have, and we're always talking about you have
three dogs.
Three dogs now.
Yeah, three. Yeah, but I see so many different animals every day at work, so I get to enjoy them. So I don't feel the need to have a ton of animals at home because I honestly don't have time to take care of them.
Ron is joining us now. Hey, Ron.
Hi.
What's up?
Well, I just wanted to share with you a story of my golden retriever.
Okay.
He's about 12 years old now. His name's Parker, and he's been the best dog we've ever had and constant companion to my wife. And anyway, he came down with a growth in his mouth. It was actually protruding outside his lip. We had it removed, and they sent it off to the lab, said it was an anaplastic sarcoma.
Oh, dear. That's not good.
What is that?
Well, it's a form of cancer.
Yeah, it's a cancer, and it's a highly aggressive cancer that affects that kind of tissue in that area. So how long ago did he have that removed?
It was 6 weeks ago last Tuesday.
Okay. And how's it looking? Is it staying quiet, or is it starting to regrow?
We don't have any sign of it in his mouth right now.
Okay. Well, that's good.
We considered taking him to a clinic that was going to cost us thousands of dollars to treat him, and some of the options was to remove his jawbone and to radiation and chemo and all that. And we went with another product called hydrazine sulfate.
Okay, yeah.
Have you heard of this? Because
I have. It's definitely not the first thing that we would think of when we talk about treatment of sarcomas. And on the jaw area, definitely they're horribly aggressive in how they can grow outwardly, start to affect a pet's ability to swallow, to eat, to get food down. And the challenge is to try to stop that growth and to give us some good quality time. So a lot depends when we're talking about cancer treatments for dog is what each individual pet owner, what their goals are and how much they want to A, spend, and B, go through as far as treatment for their pet. And I can tell you I have had some wonderful stories of dogs that ended up having mandibulectomies to remove their entire lower jaw for a malignant sarcoma, and he went on to live like 5 years later. So the goal is, for some people, surgery can seem very distasteful, but I can say firsthand, I saw this patient just thrive. He was a fabulous, happy boy, and successfully, the surgeon was able to abate or stop the growth of that tumor any further. And that's the best chance, is if you can do that to stop the cancer, then hopefully we can avoid having to get into some of these other things. But radiation therapy is definitely a treatment method, or chemotherapy for some types can be used as well. So, yeah, in all of those therapies, you're going to get into working with an oncologist, and you're going to probably be talking about thousands of dollars for those types of procedures. So if that's not within your wishes for yourself or for your pet, then a lot of folks will look at other therapies and other steps. And I can tell you, my own dog has a type of bone cancer, a little bit different. And we used a palliative medicine. It's a medicine called zamidronate. And that was one that helped wonderfully. And it helps to alleviate pain related to some of the bone tumors. It's not cheap either, but it was something that worked very wonderfully for my Jade, and it's helped her really be 9 months of comfortable time with her bone cancer in her elbow. So there are some things short of surgery or chemotherapy that if you don't want to get into that an oncologist can really help you with. But you do mention a therapy that's a little bit unconventional in that it's not FDA approved. And the product is actually a chemical that is a byproduct of some jet fuel processing. So it does sound a little scary when you read it on a piece of white paper of where it comes from. But it has been looked at in as far back as the 70s, I believe, that they looked at that as a way to treat different types of cancers in people. And there's some questionable, results out there. Some folks don't believe in people and or in animals that we have consistent proof that it helps for long-term survival. So there is some question out there, and I know there are different bodies that are looking at that to study it a little bit more. And then there's also the concern that has some cancer-causing potential. In laboratory rats, they looked at that and they saw breast cancer, liver, lung cancer. So it's not a completely innocuous treatment in its own right. But I'm assuming you're working with
I've had him examined twice by the surgeon that did the first surgery, and she fully expected to see some sort of cancer back in his mouth by now. She said she would have given it an 85% chance that she would see the cancer by now. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I'm going to keep following the instructions for this. I do believe there's miracles out there. My daughter is the beneficiary of another miracle treating her MS, and that's a subject for another show, I know. But
sure,
he's done wonderful since we've had this. He's still playing. He's still enjoying life. And, when I dig his grave, I'm going to put all the parts in the same hole. I'm not going to dismember my dog.
And that's definitely, I think, Ron, it's a decision for everyone it's a very personal thing. In such as like a dog with an amputation for purposes of cancer. A lot of people are afraid of it based on kind of the gruesome description of what has to be done. But for many of the pets that we see on the other side that do well with this and aren't affected by the disability, I would just want other folks to not be afraid of that because of the way it sounds and the way we're worried a pet might cope. They can do wonderfully. And certainly it might not be right for you and for your pet, and I respect that.
Could I tell your listeners where they could probably find, this is the Syracuse Cancer Research Institute is where I got my information, and I'm not affiliated with them. In fact, I'm still a skeptic, but until I see a reason not to be, I've just had good luck with it so far. And we still got our dog, and he still seems to be happy and enjoying life.
Our prayers are with you. I'm so glad that he seems to be happy, and hopefully he's had a remission that will last.
Would you like to pay lower fees and interest on your credit cards? Of course you would. Are you making more money than you were a year ago? If you're like a lot of us out there, barely living paycheck to paycheck, I doubt it. It just costs more to live today, and you're probably using your credit cards more. To help you, the credit card companies have issued the Credit Card Hardship Program. It's a free program that can help you by reducing their fees. We've set up a special hotline right now, so regardless of what credit card company you work with, we can help you negotiate through the hardship program. To qualify, you must have $10,000 or more in credit card bills, have a source of income or a job, and you're having a tough time paying your bills. Listen, we want to help you, so please make this free phone call right now to learn more.
800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. That's 800-245-1567. Paid for by the Net Solutions Network.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joy Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
I got to tell you, it's pretty noisy in the background there. For groomers, that sounds like they know how to party.
They do. This is a busy show. There's probably about 5,000 people at this show right now, and it's busy.
Hey, do they have an intoxicated groomer competition award?
Yeah, after 6 o'clock. It's from 6 to about 2 in the morning. It's the intoxicated groomer competition. Just don't bring your dogs here. I got to tell you, though, some of the things are really cool. They got a poodle right now that's in the ring, which I'm, supposed to be judging, but I snuck away to talk to you guys. That's corded, so it's like dreadlocks. The whole dog is dreadlocks, and it's the coolest thing that you've ever seen.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Take pictures. We'll put them up on the Facebook page.
I will take many.
Okay, you do that. Joey is, of course, checking in from Hershey, Pennsylvania, where it's some big grooming show, and he's up for some big award that he's lost years and years in a row now. He's been nominated many years, and hopefully this will be the big year for Joey Villani, the dog father. Let's check in with Ronnie. Hey, Ronnie, how are you?
Oh, hanging in there, man. How you doing?
Oh, splitting atoms over here. You want to talk to the doc?
Yeah, if I could. I got a problem with a cat.
All right. What do you got going on there?
Last summer, I got this great big bay window. I live down in North Carolina, down near the beach, and we got some animals, snakes, stuff like this, that are around the house. I built this 2-foot wide ledge along the bay window for the cat. And it's sort of nice out. Cat will sit there and sleep. Well, I had this snake that came up to the window. The cat opened its eyes, did a backflip, and then went ballistic on me and tried going through the window to get the snake.
Oh, dear.
And then I got some squirrels in the front yard that they've always been there. Cats never really bothered. And she sees them and everything else, but now it's like a running battle. She sees them squirrels, she'll try and go right straight through the window to get them.
Holy cow. And so she didn't do this before? It was only when she had more visual access with the bay window?
She never did it before, and it's just since that snake reached his head up and looked in to see what was there, and she opened up her eyes and, wow.
Oh, yeah. That would make me do a backflip. So when she goes crazy, what does she do? She tries to get out the window. Does she ever, like, turn on you and become aggressive to you?
Well, she haunches her in a cat haunch, like a scared cat, and hisses like something fierce, and then just tries swatting the window, like she wants to go through it.
Okay, well, and you know what you're seeing is not an abnormal behavior. She's displaying some predatory behavior, whether it could be even combined with some, territorial concerns that she has. So a lot of times, and I have to commend you, Ronnie, you're doing a good thing. A lot of people, these bay windows, the little window seats you can put in for cats, they do help to improve the kind of their indoor enrichment. So it gives them more to do, to watch. The problem we can encounter with some cats is that if they don't just sit there passively and say, "Oh, this is cool, I enjoy watching," like a tennis game and watching the critters go back and forth, that it heightens to a higher level and they become more anxiety-ridden with this. And I think for you, that's what you need to decide. If for you this is a problem, and if you feel that it is unhealthy in the way your cat's behaving, because I can tell you how to fix it, but if you don't think it's really a problem, then my recommendations you may not want to follow through on. Because the number one thing that we would do is actually to block access to these areas, because the more that she sees these creatures, it further stimulates her to react in that same way. So we need to just kind of quiet things down and block her access to that. And that may be something as simple as closing doors, blinds. Sometimes I'll put down scat mats or even just double-sided sticky tape so the kitty doesn't want to go in that area. But that's really going to be the first part of things. And from there, it depends whether or not we have more problems. So say she was getting so worked up that she actually kind of bites you, or if you try to remove her from the area, she turns towards you in an aggressive means. That can happen, and that can escalate for a cat that's just kind of freaked out and anxious by seeing these little predatory critters outside. That can get worse. So you can decide if you want to make steps to curb this at this point, and if so, the focus is we just need to get her away from that stimulation. And access blocking is going to be the first thing. The other things that I'll look at are going to be kind of anxiety medications and therapies that we can try. But again, you tell me, Ronnie, is this a problem that you want to stop how she's behaving, or is it kind of fun and entertaining when she's doing this?
Well, I'm thinking about setting up a videotape and videotaping it and see if I can't win $1 million off her annex.
Well, then you just answer that, Ronnie, because you're thinking this is funny, and it sounds interesting and funny. But my concern is that if this goes up a notch in her anxiety level, that it could be an unhealthy pastime for her. And I think that's what you really got to decide if you want to pursue that. But she is not the typical cat. So most cats will sit there and just kind of watch this, and she's a little bit more, I don't want to say hyper, but a little bit more reactive to the predatory stimulation. So you can try doing other things to give her some redirection for this behavior. Some of the toys where you can, the little interactive toys where the cat chases the ball around the track, or the laser light toys. All of those things are great ways to give her an outlet for predatory behaviors and not have that window become the site where we're going to have that display itself.
What she does do is she chases my 75-pound male collie around the house. They play tag.
And if it's all in good fun and nobody's hurt in the process, then that's fine. Dogs and cats can play nicely. But really, I think you have to look at the tone of her mental state, really watch her body language. And if she is anxious and freaked out by this and it's not a fun pastime, then I would encourage you to make those steps and try to stop that.
Yeah, because the snake was about 8 foot long. I looked at it.
Whoa. Yikes.
The head of the snake is almost as big as hers when it looked up into the window. And I can imagine it probably freaked me out, too, if I opened up my eyes and I see a snake tongue through the glass at me. Yeah, I think it probably freaked me out a little, too.
Holy cow, yes, absolutely. And you got to be thankful that your cat is safe and sound indoors and not face-to-face with that snake.
Yeah, it's a snake that is on my property. It takes care of all the poisonous snakes. It's a black snake.
Okay. All right.
And I live in an area where there's a lot of water. I get a lot of cottonmouths, copperheads, a lot of poisonous snakes, but this black snake chases them off. So I keep it around the house. It's just the first time that she's seen it.
Yeah, well, and obviously it's going to leave an impression because negative experiences do leave a stronger memory for animals than all the good stuff. So, it takes a longer time to extinguish the way that she's going to respond to that sight of a snake or even a squirrel or whatever it might be that she's thinking that's going to be a danger to her, raccoons, whatever it might be. So if you're not real hip on changing this, like I said, you're in control of this, and, we can look at doing some things kind of holistically, like scent pheromones that can help to calm her down, but really you're going to need to control that environment.
Thanks for your call, Ronnie. I appreciate it. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to check in with Susan Sims. She's on the Get Your Licks Off Route 66. I'm sorry, Get Your Licks on Route 66 tour?
Yes.
Okay. And that's they're stopping in St. Louis today. I think they'll be there until 4 next week in Chicago and Springfield, Illinois. We're really almost to that side of the country there where the Route 66 ends.
Mm-hmm. The world's smallest pony is missing. And police are fearing that it may be in the hands of
the mafia. They've got the pony. Not the pony's head, just the pony.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. Anyway, it's gone, missing, and they don't know where it is, and it's missing in Italy. I'll give you the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, it's Vinnie Penn, your party animal on Animal Radio. So my daughter, 7 years old, wants me to take out the family photo album the other day. She says, I want to see pictures of Grandma, which is always quite difficult for me. That's my mother, who passed away just about 2 years ago. Devastating blow from which I still haven't recovered. But when my daughter wants to see pictures of her grandmother, damn it, we look at the pictures. And this time, they say time heals all wounds. My mother battled pancreatic cancer valiantly and went out with dignity. So it gets easier. And some of the pictures are actually can bring a smile to your face for funny. She was good for these funny dances and whatnot. We were flipping through, and my daughter noticed it. She actually said for the first time, she's like, geez, Daddy, you're not sad for the first time. We're further into the book than we've ever been. And I said, yeah. I'm noticing that myself. So we went deeper. We went back into pictures she may have never even seen. And then all of a sudden, we struck a photo of my mother with our dog, Cruiser, who we lost quite a few years ago. And lo and behold, the trigger. The two of them together, Cruiser sitting in her lap. She never even liked the name I gave him, but she let me give him the name. The two of them together, it was just... not ready for that one. I made fun of a girl once for having a doggy photo album, and it said it on front. It was specifically for her dogs. She had big dog. She had two huge dogs that would greet you at the door. I mean, they made Marmaduke look like a Shih Tzu. And I said, "But oh my doggy photo albums! Can't you just put them in with the family photo?" This was the first time that I thought, geez, that doggy photo album, not a bad idea. Vinnie Penn, party animal, Animal Radio.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
It's Animal Radio. It's so easy to ask the Dream Team your questions. Dr. Debbie's here. Dog trainer Alan Cable. Dog father Joey Villani live from Hershey, Pennsylvania this weekend. Not a vacation. He's actually grooming. He's up for an award. He'll tell you about it in just a few minutes. I'm sure he'll brag about it. Animal communicator Joey Turner's all here. And you can call us right from the app. Stacy, what are you working on?
Well, they say man's best friend is a dog, and this blind man's dog definitely was his best friend. He probably is credited to saving his life. I'll tell you all the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
You know who's also at the news desk? The associate editor at the Mother Nature Network is Laura Moss. We welcome her to the show. Hi, Laura. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Love the article that you just had at MNN.com about the songs that were inspired by dogs.
By just pets. They're just
pets,
not all dogs.
Dogs, cats, iguanas, all kinds. And especially like the Beatles. Some of these songs that I've been hearing for years and years on end, I'd never even thought at all that they were about animals. I knew that, like Shannon. You remember the song?
That was one
Henry
of my
Grosse's?
favorites.
Shannon is
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That I knew was about a dog.
I knew that one. That was the only one I really knew.
But there is some that you've uncovered. Tell us.
Well, the story kind of got started when I read an article about how Martha, My Dear by the Beatles was actually inspired by Paul McCartney's dog. And a lot of people had assumed it was about a longtime love interest of his, but he put those rumors to rest and told everyone that it was actually about his dog, and he assured them that the relationship was purely platonic. And so from there, I started looking in to see what other songs that I had or had not heard were inspired by cats or dogs or other pets. And I was surprised that it was out there. I think one of my favorites as a big Queen fan was Freddie Mercury. I had no idea he was such a fan of, he was a big cat guy. And he actually dedicated his first solo album to cat lovers everywhere. And on the Queen album, Innuendo, he has a song dedicated to his cat named Delilah. And it's called Delilah, and it's clearly about a cat. It's a good listen.
Didn't he used to call home when he was on tour and talk to his cats over the answering machine?
Yes, he used to call and talk to them. He even had, I think he even had portraits commissioned to be painted of his cat.
He loved his cats. You know, when I talk about Jimi Hendrix, I say he had a bunch of cats. Judy always looks at me like I'm
right,
pulling.
Hal.
These rock stars, they love these animals. I'm telling you, Queen, not only Freddie Mercury, but Brian May, the guitarist, didn't he like cats too?
Yes, he had a song. I'm trying to remember the name of it, that was dedicated to his cat after she passed away. I think I have it right. It was called All Dead, All Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And just coming to terms with the death of his childhood cat.
Who else?
There was also, in addition to Shannon, Norah Jones had Man of the Hour, which is a very, very cute song that she dedicates to her dog about how she may never be able to shower with him and he'll never cook her breakfast, but he'll also never make her cry, and which I think was very sweet. And let's see, who else do we have?
What about Elvis, the king?
Elvis covered a song called Old Shep, which was, I think, originally written in the 30s, and several artists covered it, but his version was by far the most famous one.
What about, Cat Stevens?
Yes, Cat Stevens. I think that was one of his first hit singles was I Love My Dog, which is a really cute song from the 60s. And one of the most creative ones I found was actually by a band called Pinback, and it's about a goldfish, which was the only non-cat or dog song that I came across, which was pretty funny. A lot of people kind of thought it wasn't about a goldfish, that it was just too obvious, and they finally had to come clean and say, no, this was really about a fish that we had that passed away, I think, in 2002. But the whole song about a fish.
Yeah. How did you do all your research?
A few times I would hear stories that I thought were, the goldfish story. It was hard to believe that it was really about a goldfish, so I tracked down the band's website, and they actually made a statement saying, no, this song was about a goldfish. And so it was there's a whole lot of internet research, a few calls just to verify that these songs, because some of them can be interpreted as just love songs.
Exactly.
But it's love for pets. It wasn't romantic love, and it was, very sweet that they wanted to kind of memorialize their pets in that way.
The website where we can read the article is mnn.com, as in mothernaturenetwork.com.
That's correct. MNN.com.
Look for the article from Laura Moss, 10 Pets That Inspired Great Songs. We appreciate you spending time with us today.
Oh, thank you. It was great to talk to you.
Yes, go ahead,
That was Laura Gina Davis Moss.
Speaking of rough jobs, I see that you might have gotten in it with a cat today, it looks like, maybe?
Yeah, well, it was really quite the interesting. I've never seen this in all my years of practice, and it's been like 18 years. So it was the coolest thing. So not cool for Kitty. Kitty came in and was drooling, wasn't eating and drinking, and just really frustrated and rubbing at his face. And I just examined him. He's this gorgeous Persian with nicely groomed hair. It goes to the groomer every 4 weeks, very well kept. And he had some hair from his jaw, about 3 inches to 4 inches in length, that was kind of rolled like in a mat, and it was actually in his mouth, stuck down his throat, past the base of his tongue.
He was choking on his own mat?
Yes, and he's not matted. That's what the crazy thing is. There's not a mat on this cat anywhere. So, I kind of equated it to like when I was a kid and I had pigtails, and I take my pigtail and suck on it. And I thought, oh my goodness, maybe this cat was grooming himself and got his fur in his... How this happened, I have no idea. But fortunately, just pulled right out. No major harm done, and hopefully Kitty's eating and drinking by now.
And hopefully get into grooming. Yeah, of some sort.
Crazy stuff. I did trim away the big, crazy... It was like a dreadlock. It was dreadlock down his throat.
You get such weird things. Last week it was the bone, the little marrow bone that was stuck on the lower jaw of the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, you see some weird stuff there. Is that in every veterinary practice, or is that your veterinary practice?
Oh, no, I'm sure it's not just me. Dogs and cats do the darndest thing. And I think that's what, we always have to be aware of, is you can't anticipate the unexpected with pets.
Dr. Debbie, there she is. And if you're heading through Vegas, you need a veterinarian, check her out, Lone Mountain Animal Hospital.
Yeah.
And, of course, her books, Yorkshire Terrier, Shih Tzus, Pugs, Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend. We are so proud to have her on Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. You know when your dog goes missing and you chase him out the door and you go, here, tough, here. And your dog comes to you because you have a treat and you whistle, right? Well, you can't whistle and a cow will come. A cow was missing for about 6 months. They finally captured it, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. This fugitive cow was wandering around the woods around major highways near Georgia's Henry and Clayton counties. And in that time, the cow even found its way onto the road. It caused traffic jams. Well, the Georgia Department of Transportation said they were able to corral the cow, and then they tranquilized it. And Department spokeswoman Jill Goldberg said the cow's on its way to a better home now. While it was missing, this wayward cow even had its own Twitter handle. They called it Kevin the Cow. You know what? I know it's hard to catch a cow. One time I was fishing with some friends, and there was this cow. There was a bunch of them. They were over in a pasture, and these guys said to me, okay, $5 I'll give you if you can go pet that cow. And I said, oh, no problem. I can do it. Well, the cows run away from you when you get close. You can't even get close to them. It's very hard. I lost that bet, by the way. Dogs are supposed to be man's best friend, but one pooch in Fort Worth, Texas is being blamed for shooting its owner. According to the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, the accident occurred at night when this 78-year-old woman was watching TV. Apparently, her dog walked by a shotgun that was at her side. Yeah, it was Ma Kettle that was sitting there. She knocked it over, and when it hit the floor, the gun discharged and struck the woman in her left foot. Well, police spokeswoman Officer Sharon Neal said the woman didn't seek medical attention until the next morning when her foot was swollen and in worse condition. Neal said the woman chalked the whole incident up to an accident, and she didn't want the dog blamed for it. Officer Neal wouldn't release the dog's name or breed, joking that he has the right to remain silent. The world's smallest pony may be in hands of the mafia. Metro says a tiny pony who goes by the name Charlie and measures just over 2 feet tall was taken from his stall at Italy's National Horse Show last week. Police suspect Charlie said it was nabbed by Italian criminals, and they say that they're not ruling out the involvement of a larger criminal organization.
Yeah, get me the pony right now.
The president of the National Horse Show sent his sympathies to Charlie's owner, adding that he's ashamed by what he calls a crime that offends and humiliates the equine world. As long as it's not the pony's head, that's when you got to worry. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Fido Friendly Magazine presents the 16th annual Cross Country Pet Adoption Tour. Get your licks on Route 66. Along with media sponsor Animal Radio and companion sponsor Zymox, the tour travels down America's favorite highway from LA to Chicago, stopping at shelters along the way to support adoption events and to raise money for the shelters. With the help of cat food sponsor Cat It, companion sponsor Tito's Vodka for Dog People, campground sponsor KOA, grooming sponsor Hands On Gloves, and car wrap sponsor Signs to You. Fido Friendly Magazine brings their giant spinning wheel where attendees can donate money to spin and win Fido fabulous prizes, with all proceeds benefiting the shelter of the day. In the first 15 years, the tour has helped to place over 19,000 pets into new forever homes. Log on to FidoFriendly.com to see where the tour stops near you and come out for a safe, fun way to support your local shelter. And who knows, you might just find your new forever friend.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now. Download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Let's head on over across the country now to St. Louis, Missouri, where we have Susan Sims on tour with the Get Your Licks on Route 66 tour. Hey, Susan.
Hi, how are you guys?
Very good. Where are you today?
We are with the Humane Society of Missouri on Macklin Avenue. And let me tell you, this has been such a great day. It's still time for people to come on out. We've got so many great pets that are looking for new forever homes.
How many have you adopted out so far?
Gosh, I'm going to say we're well over the 100 mark, which we're so happy about. Last year, I think we came home with 165 adoptions, so I think we're going to beat that.
Yay!
Now, last week we talked to Ashley Bell. I had no idea who she was until after we talked to her. By the way, I had to Google that, and she's kind of a famous star there. Did she go home with any animals?
Well, no. In fact, just prior to that, we did a photo shoot with Ashley Bell. She's going to be on the cover of the fall issue for Fido Friendly Magazine. And she was with a golden retriever named Honor, who sadly passed away right after the photo shoot. And so her family, after that, they adopted 2 rescue dogs prior to coming to the event. And she's just a really, really special person, just as a big animal lover.
Well, there is no better time to go out and adopt an animal. Meet Susan on Route 66 next week. You're going to be in Chicago.
That's correct. Yeah, that's always a great event for us. It kind of wraps up the tour at Paws Chicago. And a lot of people heard about Paws Chicago because a couple of years ago, this person named Oprah adopted a couple of her dogs there. So they named a wing in her honor. They named a wing in her honor?
Really? Just for adopting the animal? Or maybe she was helping out? Would they name a wing in my honor?
She was probably helping out. And so, she left Cocker Spaniels, and that's where she got her last 2 Cocker Spaniels.
And then you'll be in Springfield and Kansas City. I'll put the schedule up over at the website at animalradio.com. Susan, be well, travel safely, and adopt a lot of animals.
Hey, thanks for all your help, you guys. You're the best.
You're awesome. There she goes, publisher of Fido Friendly Magazine, and every year she does this. Get Your Licks on Route 66 tours.
Sounds like fun. We're going to have to join her one year.
Hey, BJ.
Hello.
How you doing?
Well, I just got unloaded, and now I got to go get an oil change. But I got a question about my dog.
Good, because I can't help you with the oil changes. I grew up in a garage family, but I know nothing about it.
Yeah, well, it takes 12 gallons and costs a lot of money. I know that.
12 gallons of oil?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know those trucks took that much.
Yeah, 12 gallons.
So what's going on with your animal? What's going on with your pet?
Okay, I had Fuzzball out walking the other day. And he was smelling the ground, and he'd hit like one spot and just stand there, smelling. And I got to wondering, I can drop something in front of him, and he just kind of looks off like, da-da-da, there it is. I drop it in front of my wolf's nose, gone. Does he have the same, I know that they're supposed to have a certain amount of olfactories in their noses, so they got smellers.
Uh-huh.
But on a brachiocephalic dog like this, I have a Boston Terror rat.
Okay.
He don't have a nose. Does he have as many smeller spots in his nose as that 9-inch nose on that wolf? Or does he get cut short, and that's why he can't smell things?
That's a great question. We do know that there's differences in the number of olfactory receptors in different breeds of dogs. Now, I probably would say, I can't tell you exactly the numbers, but we know that what some of these different breeds were bred for and what they really develop for down the road, certain breeds, they may have longer snouts. They may have more surface area, and that may mean those are the dogs that perhaps are best for tracking, for scenting. You know, when you look at a bloodhound or a German Shepherd, you know, these dogs have very large, long noses with more surface area. So, you know, I probably have to look up some weird factoids about how many receptors, but I would say it's fair to assume that they have more than some of the small breed dogs with the short little faces, the brachycephalics, as we call them, because they just developmentally didn't have the need for that. They have the big bulgy eyes, the big gorgeous face, and, you know, that's kind of why they were bred to be close to a lot of the humans. Now, we do know that cats have a much poorer sense of smell compared to dogs. And I can tell you that they have the receptors, I believe, are in somewhere around the 20s, whereas some of the dogs, it's up to like 170 centimeters squared. So this is something where we can say, dogs that definitely have a better sense of smell, and they have longer noses than cats do. So we always would say, boy, why don't the cats smell the stink of their own poop? That's why. And I'd say also, when we talk about smell and what dogs might smell better or have a better sense of smell, you know, there's more motivation for certain dogs. So if you have a tracker or a retriever who really wants to find that, say, duck or find that retriever toy, they're going to know and they're going to be very motivated to use their sense of smell to the best of their advantage. Whereas some of the dogs that maybe don't have that drive, that motivation to use that sense, you know, those receptors, who knows, developmentally they're probably not going to use them. So down the road, decades and eons, there's going to be a difference in those receptors. So if my answer is a little vague, it is, but I would say, yes, I believe your boy, your little fuzzball, probably doesn't have the same sense of smell.
Good question, BJ. We thank you for your call today.
It's Alan Cable. You know, you can train your dog to do almost anything. You probably heard that story of the guy who trained the dogs to drive a car in Australia.
What a good boy.
Pebble here knows how to ring a doorbell.
What a good boy.
His owner invented this doggy doorbell that's easy for a dog to push on so that Pebble could let everybody know when he needs to go out.
You can put a treat inside the space.
That's pretty darn smart, because that would get Pebble to jump up and push on it anyway. That's how the guy in Australia taught his dogs one step at a time how to drive a car. You could do the same thing with a cowbell on your door to train your dog to let you know when he needs to go outside or wants to go outside. You know, instead of scratching on the door or being destructive. You start by getting your dog ready to learn. You want your dog to be in a calm state of mind, not all excited and agitated. They can't learn when they're like that. You can actually use treats to mellow your dog out too. You can use treats and rewards for everything. But the best way to calm your dog is to tire him out before you try to train him. Make him run. Tie him to your bicycle and take a ride. Take a jog. Take a long, brisk walk. Play some fetch with a ball or his favorite toy if he likes to chase and bring things back. You're actually training him when you play with him. When he brings it back to you, you give him a treat. Say, good boy. Once he's tired out, bring him in the house. Put him in his crate for about 15-20 minutes. Then calmly take him out, and he'll be ready to pay attention and learn. Now remember, you want to teach your dog one thing at a time, and it might take a couple of days or weeks before he masters the one thing that you're trying to teach him. So if you wanted to teach him to let you know when he needs to go out by hitting the bell on the door, you would first start by getting him to actually jump up on the door. You can do this by prodding him to jump, or maybe just hold the treat against the door so that he jumps up to get it. And you'd repeat that over and over until you can get him to do it without a treat. Then maybe give him the treat after he does it, or just say good boy when he does it. You could teach your dog to turn lights on and off, even to bring you the phone. When you try to teach your dog something, look at it from his point of view and think about whether or not you're being clear in what you want him to do so that he understands. Remember, good boy.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio 4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio 4. Again, that's promo code Radio 4.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
And we go to the phones. We have Robin on the phones for Dr. Debbie. Hi, Robin. How are you doing today?
Hi, fine. Thank you for taking my call.
What's going on?
Well, my kitty has been diagnosed with IBD. We think, anyway. We're not going to do a biopsy. My doctor did an exploratory surgery, and he decided not to because of how thickened the colon was and how highly irritated it was. He didn't want to even touch it. He sent him home on Clavamox and Baytril. He did fine for a couple of days, and then he went back down again. So I ended up down at the specialty hospital. They did blood work, and it comes up that his pancreas levels were kind of high. They did an ultrasound. It was swollen. However, when my doctor did exploratory surgery, he said it was not swollen when he was in there. Mm-hmm. So they're saying it's possible that it was irritated from the surgery, but it also could be pancreatitis, along with the IBD. I guess my question is, right now they have him on an antidiarrheal antibiotic. It starts with an M. I'm not really sure.
Metronidazole.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I talked with the specialty doctor yesterday. She wants him to go ahead and start steroids. Mm-hmm. My doctor feels that he shouldn't be on the steroids till he's done with that. So I'm getting two conflicting answers, and I don't know what to do.
Okay. Let me go back to the very beginning here. What kind of symptoms is your kitty showing?
The first thing he started was he had diarrhea one morning, but he was fine all day until the nighttime. He kind of went down, and the next morning I could tell he didn't feel good. So I took him to the doctor. He had 104.5 temperature. We were thinking blockage because he could feel something inside of there, so they did the barium enema or x-rays. They found he thought was a blockage, and when he got in there, it ended up being his appendix was so swollen. Okay. That's what he thought was the blockage. So they went and closed him back up and didn't do anything.
Okay.
So
darn, that's a shame.
After 2 days when he came home, he started vomiting, but now we have him on anti-nausea medication and everything.
Okay. It's just a shame because we were right inside that belly. To get some samples would have been fabulous because that would answer the question for everything that we're talking about right now. And when we're suspicious with kitties that have GI signs, vomiting, diarrhea, not eating well, any of those can fit with the diagnosis of inflammatory bowel disease. But the problem is, if I biopsy enough cats, I'll find inflammatory bowel disease in just about everybody. So we have to relate that to what's really clinically pertinent going on. So for me, when I hear that the pancreas either had elevations on blood work or it looked abnormal on ultrasound, I'm going to believe that there's probably some pancreas involvement going on. The problem is you can get one or both of those together, so they're not usually exclusive. They often happen together. For myself, even if I don't always have the benefit of a biopsy with inflammatory bowel disease, if the symptoms are bad enough and the kitty is showing those either weight loss or those symptoms, I will move to prednisone. And I don't necessarily, if we're not currently running a fever, I don't typically have a problem starting prednisone. If we're still febrile at 104, I'm probably not going to go there yet. But prednisone is really kind of one of the first line drugs that we use to treat inflammatory bowel disease. I may not be able to comment exactly, where you're at with your veterinarian and things, but I use it pretty liberally when it comes to cats with diagnosed inflammatory bowel disease, in conjunction with a hypoallergenic diet, because that's also a very important way that we can approach this. If we have pancreatitis, then we would probably go more with a low-fat, highly digestible approach to that diet and see about that.
Okay, they have him on EN right now, Purina EN. Is that good for what's going on?
Yeah, that's actually fits right into that category of that diet. So that is, certainly appropriate. A lot of times I don't like to use one therapy exclusively. A lot of times we'll use multiple therapies. So it would be nice to see if the metronidazole took care of things, but in many cases, we have to add in other things like the prednisone, the diet, and kind of throw even things like probiotics into the situation. That helps to improve the immune system just by providing like a healthy flora for the gut. So that would be something that if we're not doing, I often do that as well.
Okay, I looked into that, and I had asked the specialist doctor about that, and she thought, it could go either way. There was never a scientific. So is there one specific one that you could recommend to me for him?
There are several different veterinary brands, and those would be the ones that I'd kind of gear towards. As far as different brands, your primary doctor should have a couple on the shelf. I usually keep one or two in our office, but that would be the kind of thing that I'd be looking at. Not necessarily going to the health food store and just picking something up. Something that's actually been shown for dogs and cats. But I think with the combination of those things, and Hal knows we use prednisone with one of his kitties for some chronic disease. And sometimes it is a necessary evil. So if there's some benefit that your veterinarian feels we can glean from prednisone, then I'm all for, using it for this type of condition. And I hope that helps you some here.
Well, now, should I take his temperature and make sure he's not running a fever before I throw a steroid in there?
Well, that's part of your veterinary assessment. So if the veterinarian does not feel that there's a temperature, does not feel there's indication of obstruction or other problems going on in the abdomen, then yeah, I'm a fan of using the prednisone. But I would make sure you're not making that decision without the benefit of a veterinary exam, okay?
Right. She told me to start it, but he just kind of seems down today, so I didn't want to start it if he had something going on again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that would be definitely a good thing, just to check that at home if you have that capability then.
Okay, perfect.
Once again, it has flown by. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to download the Animal Radio app. You can listen to Animal Radio wherever you are, whenever you would like, and you can ask your questions of our dream team, or a vet, or dog trainer, or groomer, or animal communicator right from the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Take care, guys.
You guys around, man. See you in the mañana.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.